Ever since Aston Martin joined the grid, replacing Racing Point in 2021, they have not had the best of cars to say the least. In both 2021 and 2022, they finished P7 in the Constructors' Championship, which was mainly due to the small regulation changes in 2021 and the huge ones in 2022 that they seemed not to get right. They have had some good moments with Sebastian Vettel in their 2 years, but with him retiring, they decided they would replace him with the veteran Fernando Alonso. Many thought that this was a bad move from going from the 4th best team in Alpine to the 7th best team in Aston Martin. However, it looks like to be a very smart move, with them having a rapid car so far in 2023. They look like they have probably the second quickest car, with Alonso getting back-to-back podiums in Bahrain and in Saudi Arabia, and that is a huge improvement. In the 2 previous years, they only managed to get 1 podium, and that was in 2021 at Baku. It has to be said that massive credit has to be given to the Aston Martin for making such a big jump with little to no regulation changes over the winter break. In today's video, we're going to talk about this huge pace increase from last season and how they did it. What is the probability of Aston Martin fighting for the championship very soon, and how good of a move this was from Fernando Alonso? Let's get straight into it. To understand how much Aston Martin has improved over the winter, we'll look at how they did in the first race in Bahrain last year. They finished P12 and P17 in the race and had a pretty dreadful start to the season as they struggled with the car, and it was probably the second slowest, only ahead of the Williams. In pre-season, both of the drivers in Vettel and Stroll just could not get to grips with the car, as it looked like it was very hard to handle, which put no confidence in the drivers, of course. To further hurt their start to the 2022 season, Vettel tested positive for COVID-19, meaning that Hulkenberg had to step in for the first 2 races. To have this happen at the crucial point in the season to get used to the car in the new regulations, the pace was just not there. Especially with the new regulations, it would be very hard for them to climb up the grid, but they developed the car very nicely, with some controversy being called the Green Red Bull, and would finish P7 in the Constructors' Championship, level on points with Alfa Romeo in P6. When you look at the feel of the team in 2022 and compare it to 2023, it seems like night and day. This year, the team looked confident, and Alonso was speaking with confidence that the car was quick and that he had made the right decision for the first time in a long time. A lot of people in the paddock over pre-season testing thought that the team in green were into something special, but would they be able to convert it into raw pace? Well, yes they would, with the team in Bahrain taking home P3 with Fernando Alonso and P6 with Lance Stroll, who was racing with a broken toe and a broken wrist. To jump from not scoring any points in Bahrain in 2022 and then going to take 23 points away the year after shows the improvement that was made from year to year. They went from challenging the Williams for the back of the grid in qualifying, and in Saudi Arabia, Alonso started on the front row and challenged the Red Bull for a few laps. It's also very easy to make an argument to say that Aston Martin is now the second fastest team behind Red Bull. That is insanely impressive to take a step forward ahead of the 2 big teams in Mercedes and Ferrari, who were miles ahead of them last year. They hope to be able to challenge for P2 in the championship to the very end, but if they are able to develop the car like they did last year, they are in for a very big chance of doing so. How on earth did they do it? Well, it is hard to say, as the car does not look totally different from last year, so they probably made some major changes to the floor. As we all know, Formula 1 teams want to keep their car as secret as possible to stop other teams from copying, so it's very hard to see what has changed on the car that we cannot see on track. But what are your thoughts on Aston Martin's jumping pace? Will they be able to finish P2 in the standings, or will Mercedes or Ferrari be able to develop the car ahead of them? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. On to our next subject, which is, will Aston Martin be able to win any championship in the very near future? The answer to that question is very complicated, but it is more than possible if they continue to improve every single year. They have a new factory that is due to be completed in a couple of years, which will give them a big boost as it will be full of state-of-the-art facilities. Over the last few years, the team have been recruiting top personnel from the other top teams to help them create the perfect car to win a championship. They will have the funds to be able to reach the cost cap, which will help them develop a good race car and be able to compete with the top dogs. We know that anything can happen in Formula 1, and next season Red Bull could fall off a cliff and Aston Martin could walk away with a championship. But for certain, everything is in place for the team to be able to win a championship within the next few years before engine regulation change in 2026. I guess we'll have to see what other teams do and if Aston Martin is able to maintain their pace over the coming years. Finally, we are going to talk about Fernando Alonso and how he may have found a team where he could possibly win the third World Championship he has been looking for years. Ever since Fernando Alonso left Ferrari all those years ago, he has just not been able to get in a car that is competitive or even a podium position, not mind a win. His second stint at McLaren was awful, as you probably already know, and he decided to retire at the end of the 2018 season, and many thought that this was the last we would see of Fernando in Formula 1. However, he would then return at the start of the 2021 season with Alpine, formerly known as Renault, where he won both his World Championships. In his first year in the team, he would take home a podium and showed that he still had it, and was able to provide good drives such as in Hungary, where he defended against Lewis Hamilton to help his teammate Esteban Ocon win the race. 2022 was much more of an annoying year for Fernando, as he would have several engine failures, and he also came together with Ocon on several occasions. This caused Alonso to jump ship to Aston Martin in a very surprising announcement that shocked everyone. Many people called it stupid due to him going from what was the 4th fastest team to the 7th fastest team. But Alonso seemed to be very confident that he had made the right decision, whilst everyone else doubted him and Aston Martin. But as we now know, that confidence was warranted, and they rocked up to Bahrain looking very quick and had the potential to finish on the podium frequently. In the first 2 rounds, Alonso would take home 2 P3 finishes, showing how that confidence was right, and he proved everyone wrong that he had made the wrong decision. This was a masterstroke from Alonso, as not many people wanted to go to Aston Martin at the time, but Alonso did, and he believed in the process. We are not sure that he thought that they would be this fast in his first year in the team, but for certain it has to be said that this move proved all the haters wrong and showed how Alonso had finally made a good decision for the first time in over a decade. We will have to see if Aston Martin can continue this upward trajectory and give Alonso a car to win his 3rd World Championship, so many years after the 2nd. Thank you so much for watching this video, and make sure that you like the video and subscribe to watch more videos just like this one.